This morning, in my meditation time, I was reading in Matthew 4, 1 through 11, and it talks about the temptation of Jesus. Well, in that temptation, we recognize that Jesus began his assignment because in chapter 3, at the end of chapter 3, John baptizes Jesus. And when John baptizes Jesus, a dove comes down, lights on Jesus, and you hear the voice of God saying, "This is my son in whom I'm well pleased." Immediately after that, Jesus goes into the wilderness to fast. The enemy comes to tempt Jesus with things that Jesus already has, with things that Jesus already knows. So on yesterday in my meditation time, God gave me a particular assignment to do. He told me something to do, and I said, "Okay, God, I'm going to be obedient because I know that my obedience will move me forward." That enemy comes in to try to tempt you. So I want you to realize that anything that God has called you to do, whether it be to forgive people, whether it be to walk out of the spirit of offense, whether it be just to pray for somebody or to reach out to somebody to encourage them, recognize that the enemy will come in and tempt you to not do it. And the longer you wait to not do those things, the more that temptation has caused you to get on that thing that Pastor calls the slide. So you begin to slide away from what God has said. And then you begin to rationalize in your mind. You begin to say, well, it's gonna be okay. So the further away you get from the obedience of God, the further away you're getting from what God is trying to bring you into. So we need to use Jesus as an example. Like Jesus, in this example of Matthew chapter 4, 1 through 11, he used the word of God. He did not fight the enemy with, okay. No, he said, "It is written." And that is where we must stand. We must stand on the word of God. When we get an assignment from God, and it doesn't have to be a grand, I'm going to the nations assignment. It can be, I need to be nicer to people. I need to stop being petty. I need to stop being mean. Those are assignments as well, because God is trying to take us to a new place in him. But we can't go to that new place because we're allowing the temptations of the enemy to get us off course. The temptations of the enemy will come in and we'll see something on social media and we're like, "No, I know they ain't doing this." And that causes us to get into that thing. Like I said, the slide, we begin to slide away from what God is saying, and we slide into what the enemy has set, that trap that the enemy has set. So my prayer for us this morning is that we do not get caught up in these temptations that the enemy is trying to throw out there, because there is greater on your life and there is purpose in your life. So fight the enemy with the word of God. Don't fight the enemy with your feelings or your emotions, because that is what he's banking on. Fight with the word of God, for the word of God is what will take us to our next level, what is going to keep us in that level. And and you say, how do I fight with the word of God? When God says to you in your spirit, you hear it in your spirit that your children may be doing something, and you know it. You're like, "Oh God, what can I do about my children?" The word of God says, "Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it." So what are you doing? You have trained that child. You train that child in the ways of the Lord. Pray and ask God to lead them back. Because the word has already told you that they will come back. But we get so focused on trying to beat them back And we begin to release things out of our mouth to our children that we should have never said. If a child is going astray, some things we say out of our mouths to get them back, we shouldn't have said. If it's God telling you that you should be nicer to your spouse, then you know that the Word of God says that what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. Sometimes that man is us. This little thing in our mouths called our tongue will get us off course. And that is the enemy's plan, to send that little small temptation. No, we expect that temptation to be so big, that it's so big in our face. No, it's the small things. It is those small things that get us off course. The spirit of offense, that will get us off course. When God says forgive, and when we have the opportunity to forgive someone face to face or voice to voice on a phone because of what's going on in the world today, take that opportunity to do that. When you feel that you've been offended, don't let it fester. Because what you will find out is that the person did not mean it that way. The way you took it, the person didn't mean it that way. Or even if they meant it that way, get this opportunity in your heart to forgive. Because the only way we're going to move forward in this season is to be obedient to God and to catch that enemy. Because the word tells us that when that enemy is found, he's got to return back to us 7 times. That thief has been found. He has been found. God has given you an assignment. Be about your Father's business. Forgive people. Let it go. Don't allow that thing to cause you to be sick in your body. Don't allow that thing to cause your heart to get hardened toward people. Don't allow that thing to cause you to miss what God is doing for you and for your family in this season. So, read Matthew chapter 3. Read Matthew chapter 4. Understand that when God gives you an assignment, that the enemy will come and try to tempt you. That the word of God is what you must stand on. And you must tell that enemy, it is written. Not what you've written, but what the word of God has written in it. That is what you must stand on. Be encouraged today. I believe in you. I believe in the assignment that God has given you, that you will win in this season, that there are no limits to what God is going to do in your life. But be obedient and step away from this slide. Don't allow that enemy to cause you to get caught up in a slide that you were never meant to be caught up in. I love you. Have a wonderful, amazing rest of your day, and we will see you soon.